Why does a woman pull away, even when it's obvious she likes you? That's the question we're tackling in today's video, and trust me, it's one of the most misunderstood dynamics in dating. Welcome to Man of Substance, the channel where men learn how to lead, attract, and never chase. Today's topic hits hard because it messes with your head in ways few things can. One moment, she's all in. She's laughing, flirting, texting first, talking about how different you are, and then, seemingly out of nowhere, she pulls back. Less responsive, less affectionate, less present. And you're left wondering, did I do something wrong? Did she lose interest? Was it all fake? Here's the truth most guys never hear. When a woman pulls away, it's not always because her feelings have changed. In fact, many times, she pulls away because she's starting to catch feelings. Yes, you heard that right. Some women retreat when they start liking you more than they expected. Emotions make people feel vulnerable, and vulnerability can trigger fear. For a woman who's been hurt before, who's been let down, or who's used to being in control, those growing feelings can send her into emotional retreat. It's a self-protection move. Other times, her pullback has nothing to do with fear. It's about testing. She wants to see how grounded you are. Are you going to chase? Are you going to lose your cool? Or are you going to hold your frame and keep your value? This behavior is confusing, no doubt, but that's why we're here. Because if you don't understand what's really happening, you'll interpret her distance as rejection and react in ways that kill attraction fast. So in this video, we're going deep. You'll understand what's actually going on in her mind when she pulls away, and how to handle it like a man who never questions his worth. Let's get into it. Now, before we begin, let's point out certain mistakes a lot of men make that could prompt a woman to pull away. 1. You got too available. Let's get one thing straight. Being too available kills attraction. And yes, that sounds unfair. You like her, you want to spend time with her, you're being consistent, and somehow that's a problem? Here's the uncomfortable truth. When a woman senses that your life suddenly revolves around her, the attraction starts to fade, even if she liked you at first. Women are drawn to men who have purpose, direction, and a life they're already building. When you drop everything to be constantly available, it sends one loud message. You don't have much else going on. What was once exciting starts feeling too easy. What was once a chase starts feeling like a routine. And in dating, routine too early is the death of mystery. Now let's bring this home with something you've probably seen or lived through. You meet her, things are clicking, texts are flowing, and you're hanging out a couple of times a week. So you start making yourself even more available. You respond instantly, you initiate plans constantly, you start sending those good morning and good night texts every single day. At first, she replies, she's friendly, but then it happens. She starts taking longer to respond. She suddenly gets busy. Plans get postponed. She pulls back, and you're confused because you were just being nice, right? Just being present, just showing interest. But here's what really happened. You went from a man she was trying to earn to a man who's always there. The masculine energy is supposed to lead, but it's also supposed to have boundaries. If she senses that your time is too easy to access, she doesn't feel like she's won anything. And when there's no value to be earned, the emotional investment drops. Women need to feel your value, and that only happens when your attention isn't free. It has to be earned, not given on a silver platter. This doesn't mean you play games or act cold. It just means your time is sacred. Your life has a rhythm she joins, not something you pause every time her name pops up. So next time you feel like being extra available to reassure her, don't. Pull back. Stay on your path. Let her lean in. That's how you maintain respect. And respect is the foundation of real attraction. 2. You made her the prize. One of the fastest ways a man loses ground with a woman is by treating her like he's lucky just to be in her presence. The moment she becomes the center of everything, the goal, the focus, the prize, he unknowingly gives away the very thing that made her feel attracted in the first place, his value. Attraction is built when a woman sees a man who stands firm in his identity, a man who respects himself more than he needs approval from anyone else. But once you start acting like she's the prize, like she's someone you need to win over or constantly impress, you strip yourself of that frame. You turn from the man she was trying to impress into the man trying to impress her. When you give off that energy, you're telling her that she's above you. You're lowering your own worth in her eyes without even realizing it. Here's the pattern. You meet a woman you really like. Maybe she's stunning, has that energy you're drawn to, and everything feels exciting. Early on, things are balanced. She laughs at your jokes, she's responsive, she initiates conversations, but then something switches. You start getting emotionally invested too fast. You shower her with compliments. You praise her constantly. You start saying things like, "I can't believe someone like you is talking to someone like me." That's the shift. You're no longer the man she was trying to figure out. You've become the man putting her on a pedestal. At first, she may smile, even thank you, but gradually, she starts pulling away. Her replies slow down. Her energy fades. The woman who once showed enthusiasm now feels emotionally distant. Not because you were rude. Not because you did something disrespectful, but because you changed the frame. And in her mind, you lowered your own value. This doesn't mean you should treat her coldly or act uninterested. It means you treat yourself like a man of worth. You're not there to chase or prove yourself. You're there to build a connection if she qualifies, if she adds value to your already full life. The men who keep women interested are the ones who don't need her to validate them. They like her, yes, but they don't need her to complete them. That difference in energy changes everything. Stop acting like you've already won something. Let her earn you. 3. You overcommunicated. There's a fine line between showing interest and coming off as too much, and one of the quickest ways to push a woman away is by overcommunicating. It may feel like you're doing the right thing, checking in, sending sweet texts, keeping the conversation alive. But when it goes overboard, it starts to have the opposite effect. Here's the reality. Women aren't looking for constant validation through texts, calls, and long messages every day. They don't need you to remind them every hour that you're thinking of them. What they do need is space to miss you and time to wonder about you. The more you overcommunicate, the less that curiosity builds and the more predictable you become. When you're always texting her, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking it shows interest. But the truth is, it comes off as desperation. You start to feel like you're needing her to respond, which is a huge turnoff. Women want a man who has his own life, his own rhythm. A man who can be present when needed, but who doesn't require constant interaction to feel validated. Overcommunicating can also create unnecessary pressure. Think about it. If you're texting her all day, asking how she's doing, sending random thoughts, or constantly checking in, it can make her feel overwhelmed. Relationships need to breathe. They need to develop naturally. When you fill every gap with conversation, it takes away the space for things to grow organically. It's also about balance. You can't expect the relationship to deepen just because you're staying in constant contact. You've got to let things unfold. There's a natural pace that happens when two people are interested, but not obsessed. The moment you start forcing communication, it feels less like a connection and more like a job. She wants you to be a man of action, not a man of words. Women appreciate when a man can show he's interested, but that interest should come through his actions and behavior, not through constant texting or needing to check in all the time. Remember, a woman doesn't need you to be always available or checking up on her. What she needs is a man who has a strong sense of self, one who's not always in her face. Give her the space to think about you, to wonder about your intentions. It will make the moments when you do communicate far more meaningful. Overcommunication is a subtle mistake many men make, thinking they're proving their affection, when in reality, they're pushing the woman further away. Less is more, and mystery has its own power. 4. She's scared of real feelings. One of the most common reasons a woman pulls away, even when she clearly likes you, is fear. And I don't mean the kind of fear you might think of. It's not about you personally. It's about her own internal battles with vulnerability and emotional risk. You see, A lot of women struggle with letting their guard down, especially when it comes to real feelings. They might have been hurt in the past, or they could have built walls to protect themselves from getting too close to someone. When things start getting deeper with you, that fear kicks in. It's not about you doing something wrong. It's about her not knowing whether she can handle the emotional roller coaster that comes with truly opening up. Here's the deal. Women, like men, have their own baggage. They have their own scars from previous relationships or experiences that might be affecting how they approach you. But here's the catch. These fears are often unspoken. They don't always know how to express that they're pulling back because they're afraid of getting hurt again. When a woman begins to feel like her emotions are getting deeper, she might subconsciously retreat. It's almost like self-preservation. She may feel that if she invests too much, she could end up getting hurt. So, instead of pushing forward and taking the risk, she pulls back, hoping to protect herself from potential pain. This isn't always about you. It's more about her own comfort level and how much she's willing to trust again. It's easy for a man to take this personally and start overthinking his actions, wondering if he's saying the wrong things or not doing enough. But often, this has nothing to do with you and everything to do with her own emotional barriers. What's crucial here is understanding that if a woman starts pulling away for these reasons, it's not a reflection of your worth or your actions. It's a reflection of where she's at emotionally. The key to handling this is patience. You can't rush someone into opening up, and you can't force them to take down their walls. You have to allow her to come to you in her own time, at her own pace. The more you try to push her to move faster than she's ready for, the more she'll back off. The best thing you can do is create a safe space for her to feel comfortable with her emotions. Be understanding without pressuring her. The more you show that you're there for her, without forcing her to be vulnerable before she's ready, the more likely she is to gradually lower her guard. 5. She's been hurt before. A lot of times, when a woman pulls away, it's not necessarily about you. It's about the past. Relationships, whether recent or long gone, leave emotional scars that can impact how someone approaches a new connection. She may have been hurt deeply before, and because of that, she's cautious about diving in too quickly, even if everything feels right in the present. It's easy to assume that someone who likes you would be all in. No hesitation. But the reality is, if she's been hurt before, she's probably carrying some baggage with her. These past experiences could be from an ex who lied, cheated, or let her down in some other way. It might not be visible on the surface, but it's there, quietly influencing her actions and decisions. When a woman has been burned, she becomes hyper-aware of how much emotional energy she's putting into a relationship. She doesn't want to repeat past mistakes or feel that same pain again. So when things start to get serious, even if she's attracted to you and enjoys your company, she may pull back, not because she doesn't care, but because she's afraid of letting her guard down. The truth is, emotional pain isn't something that just disappears. Just like you would, she's going to take her time to assess whether you're trustworthy, whether you'll hurt her the way someone else did, and whether she can let herself be vulnerable again. So, when you notice her pulling away, understand that this isn't always a reflection of your actions. It's her trying to protect herself. She's trying to figure out if she's ready to take that leap of trust again. The key here is to give her time and space. You don't need to constantly reassure her or try to prove that you're different from her past. What she needs most is the reassurance that you won't push her too hard, too fast. Show her that you respect her pace, that you're patient and understanding. In doing so, you allow her to heal and rebuild her trust in herself and in you without feeling rushed. So, if she pulls away, don't take it personally. Recognize that it's her past experiences guiding her actions. Be patient and allow her the time she needs to feel safe again. This will build a stronger, more solid foundation for whatever comes next. 6. She wants to regain control. You may not want to hear this, but here's the truth. Sometimes when a woman pulls away, it's because you've handed over too much control. And let's be real, it happens more often than you think. Men often get caught up in trying to keep a woman happy, trying to make her feel good about the relationship. And in doing so, they forget one crucial thing. they stop being the one in charge of their own life. Here's what I mean. When you let a woman control the pace of the relationship, the dynamic starts to shift. You might think you're doing the right thing by accommodating her needs, putting her first, and bending over backward to make things work. But in reality, you're losing the balance that makes relationships healthy. Women want a man who can stand his ground, who isn't constantly shifting and changing to accommodate her wants and needs. When you let her take control of everything, how fast things move, what's discussed, how you behave, you begin to look weak. And let's be clear, that's not attractive. A woman wants a man who has his own path, his own drive, and who's not afraid to walk it, even if it means sometimes stepping back and letting her take some responsibility. She wants a partner, not someone who is simply following her lead all the time. If you've been too passive, too available, or too focused on making her happy, you're giving her the chance to take control, and that's when she begins to pull away. She starts to wonder if this is really the guy she wants to be with. A man who lacks direction, a man who lets her dictate the flow of things. So, here's the wake-up call. You need to take charge. If you want a woman to stay attracted to you and stay engaged in the relationship, you can't let her take control of everything. Sure, show her respect, but don't lose sight of your own autonomy. Get back to your mission, your goals, your life, and allow her to see that you're a man with purpose, not someone whose entire existence revolves around pleasing her. When you regain control of your own life, you become more attractive and more grounded. Women are drawn to strength, leadership, and independence, qualities that come from being in charge of your own direction. Don't let her pull away just because you've lost your edge. Get back to your mission, live your life, and let her see that you're the kind of man who won't just follow the crowd, but who leads with purpose. That's when she'll come back, and that's when the attraction really starts to build. Now let's talk about what you should do in any of these situations. 7. Do nothing. Seriously. This might sound completely counterintuitive, especially after everything you've been doing to try and keep things moving forward. But sometimes, the best move is to do absolutely nothing. If a woman pulls away, and you keep chasing her, texting her more, or making grand gestures to try to win her back, you're likely pushing her further away. It's like trying to force a flower to bloom faster. It doesn't work. In fact, it can do the opposite. One of the hardest things for men to understand is that sometimes the best way to get someone to come back around is to give them space. It's not about playing games or pretending you don't care. It's about recognizing that you have your own life and priorities. When you do nothing, you're showing her that you don't need her validation or approval to feel good about yourself. You have your own mission, your own goals, and your own life to focus on. This level of independence is actually very attractive. But here's the catch. You can't do nothing while secretly still obsessing over her. You can't send passive-aggressive texts or keep checking up on her. It's about truly stepping back and allowing her to come to you. When you focus on your own life, you remove the pressure from the situation. And guess what? Pressure is one of the biggest turn-offs for a woman. If she senses that you're desperate or needy, she'll pull away even more. Doing nothing also sends a clear message that you're not going to chase her. You're not going to beg for her attention or approval. This doesn't mean you're being cold or indifferent, but it's about giving her space to realize that you're a high-value man who doesn't need to be constantly chasing validation from her. You have your own life to live, and if she's truly interested in you, she'll start reaching out herself. It's a hard pill to swallow for many men because it feels unnatural. You want to take action, to fix things, to keep pushing forward. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let go and just let things play out. Let her miss you. Let her think about you. When she feels that you're not always available, she'll start to wonder what you're up to. And the attraction often comes back stronger than before. 8. Return to mission mode. This is the final piece of the puzzle, and if you've been following the other steps, you're already on the right track. But let's make one thing crystal clear. Your mission is everything. It's the backbone of your life, the driving force behind your energy, and the thing that keeps you grounded when everything else is in chaos. When a woman pulls away, it's time to return to mission mode, Reignite the fire inside you that was burning before you got distracted by the relationship. Here's the truth. Women are drawn to men who have a clear mission in life. When you're on a path, focused on your goals, and actively working towards something that matters to you, you become more magnetic. You stop being the guy who's constantly waiting around for her attention or approval. Instead, you're the guy who's living his life with purpose. You have things to do, places to go, and ambitions to chase. And that's attractive. When she pulls away, it's the perfect opportunity for you to double down on your mission. This is your chance to remind yourself of the things you were passionate about before you got caught up in the whirlwind of the relationship. Maybe it's your career, a hobby, fitness goals, or even building your own business. Whatever it is, now is the time to prioritize it again. Focus on the things that matter to you, the things that make you a man of substance. The moment you start investing in yourself again, you'll find that your confidence grows, your energy shifts, and you become more attractive. You see, women want a man who has his own life, who isn't waiting around for her to define his happiness. When you return to mission mode, you show her that your life isn't centered around the relationship. It's centered around your own growth. This creates a natural sense of mystery and intrigue. It's like you're reminding her that while you're great to be with, your life isn't dependent on her. And that's incredibly powerful. But here's the catch. This isn't about doing things to get her attention. This is about you focusing on what truly matters to you, regardless of her actions. When you're on your mission, you become more independent, more emotionally stable, and ultimately more attractive. So if you want to get her back, if you want to turn the situation around, get back to your mission. And when you do, she'll start noticing the man who's living his life with purpose and drive. Before we wrap up, let me make this clear. If a woman pulls away and you chase her, you're losing. You're actually pushing her further away. That's right. The more you chase, the less she wants you. I know it's tough to hear, but it's the truth. If you've been doing everything to keep her interested and it's not working, it's time to wake up. The harder you try to keep her in your orbit, the more she'll see you as weak, and the more she'll pull away. Now, I want to hear from you. I know this might sting a little, but that's the reality of relationships. If you've been through this, if you've had moments where you chased and it didn't work out, I want to hear your story. Drop a comment below and share what happened. Have you been stuck in that chasing phase? Did you manage to turn things around? Or did you just let go and focus on your own life? Let's start a conversation. I'll be reading and responding to your comments because I want to connect with you. Don't forget, relationships aren't about playing games, they're about knowing your worth and sticking to it. So, comment your experience, let's connect, and maybe even help each other out. I'll reach out to those who share, and together we'll figure out how to level up in this game of attraction and life.